We were just waiting on Dave.
Did you ever pay you for the other meeting?
He didn't offer me a soda or nothing.
If you're 10 minutes early, you're late. No, that's okay, what he said.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, thank everybody that's watching and everybody that's here. Marriage report, I just want everybody to be aware that, and most of you probably are already, that starting on August 6th, Highway 19 is going to be closed this side of 70 for like a week. You will not be able to get to Interstate 70 by going Highway 19. So plan to go to alternate routes. And the other thing that's heavy on our mind here at the city is our dispatch department is down on dispatchers, and we are in dire need of finding some dispatchers. So if you know of anyone looking for employment that would like to have a career in emergency services on a very important job, a very stressful job, please have them call the city office. With that, I hope everybody stays cool. It's going to be hot, so I guess if anybody has problems, call the city for a cooling center. If we have to do that, that will be here at the city office. I'll turn it over to city administrator.
Okay, I'm going to start with a little bit of good news. I have reported recently where we've applied for a couple of grants and have not qualified for them. We got notification at the end of last week that we did get the DNR grant for that lead line rule, the lead line inventory that's going to be required of us. So, because we weren't sure how we were going to fund that. And so we asked for 422,142, and that's exactly what we received, or going to receive. So that is comforting and very good news. So there'll be more on that to come. There's some webinars coming up in August on how to proceed.
Can you refresh us on what the lead line inventory is?
Yes, so the federal government has come down with these standards for lead limits in water for residential homes. And so it requires an inventory of every home, and it's going to take 3 potholing places between the curb stop and the home. And so that's an expensive endeavor to do for every house. And then we have to inventory it all. There's like a 30-column spreadsheet that has to be kept track of as well. And then after the inventory is done, then I guess there is something we'll have to do with remediation if lead is found.
The homeowner would have to do it?
I think it depends on how close it is to the home.
It depends where it is, but regardless of whether it's on the customer's side or ours, if we know it's there and they haven't removed it, then we'll still have to send them a letter annually stating that they have a lead service line. Basically, as Trish was saying, anywhere between the water main, we have to check there, at the curb stop, and the house. So we're going to do both sides of the curb stop, and then we're hoping that we can get a lot of homeowners to kind of get us the information. That would save us a lot of time and money, which in turn saves them money. So that might be something that we try to do in the future, just get some awareness out there for them to take pictures of their service lines inside the house if possible. But yeah, we have to keep notifying people annually after, I believe, 24.
So take pictures of the service line coming into your house.
Right, which we're not ready for that yet, but when the time comes, we'll be reaching out to homeowners in the area. And
So basically, if you have an old home, you most likely have it?
no, it's kind of hit, well, it's like everything else in here, but it's hit and miss. When the guys did 7th Street, we've known this is coming down the pipe for a while, so we've been kind of keeping tabs on these things. I believe on 7th Street there was something like, I'm going to be wrong here, but I want to say there was 8 services that had lead, and then maybe a couple that had PEX, but then the others were copper. 4th Street, we had already removed a couple lead ones, there were still a few more. But we've been replacing those with plastic as we find them. So we're kind of remediating it as we go anyway. That, as crappy as this is of a project, at least it ties in with our water main replacement. So it's something we can kind of do as we go.
So, big relief that there's funding to do this, because we are, you
Yeah.
know, the water fund does not have the excess money to pay for it, so that's
What was that total?
442, 142.
And then that covers our labor as well, or just?
Well, we're hoping to get contractors in here to do it,
Okay.
because that was our big thing. We have all these water projects we have to do to get streets down,
Yeah.
and this would have pulled us off for, I mean, a year or more. I mean, you got every single service in town in 3 spots. So, we're hoping we can get this contracted out. They'll build the inventory for us, and all we have to do is give the paper to DNO. That's the hope.
Really good news. The other little piece of good news, I was at the Hermann conference last week for a couple days, and I had announced this 6 months ago. We knew that we were going to get it, but we got awarded our certificate of achievement for the perfect loss prevention evaluation score. We got another 100, so there's our little award. That's the 9th straight year in a row, and that is largely due to all the city staff keeping up with all the requirements of MIRMA to manage risk. And so there's a lot of paperwork, a lot of inspections, and a lot of training. And so a thank you to all the employees. Another big topic of conversation at the MIRMA conference was about Amendment 3, the marijuana use legalization. And so a lot of cities are wrangling with, you know, their personnel policies and how to make those changes and things. And so we still need to do that. We've updated our code enforcement portion of it, but we will need to make a few tweaks to our personnel policy too. But yeah, it's a challenge because I won't take up your time, but I think you all understand under the influence and how long it stays in your system, and the randoms aren't always accurately catching people when they're actually under the influence. So it's kind of a whole thing. So our engineer, as I was telling you at the last meeting, we were going to apply for the TAP sidewalk grant and the flood route grant as well. And our engineer is currently working on some of the preliminary things, trying to provide, get together the scope of work and the cost estimates. And we'll let you know how that ensues. The generator, we put in the budget the whole cost of the generator and the installation, but I am still looking for grant money. MRPC has given me a few more leads, which I need to really look into, so I haven't given up on that yet. My foundation repair bids have come in, and I'm going to solicit Jesse to help me go through those and compare apples to apples, and hopefully get a recommendation to you on the foundation repair for City Hall soon. As you have probably seen around town, and we talked about at the last meeting, that Brightspeed, formerly Century Tel, and their subcontractor Squan are working around town. I thought it was going to take them 2 weeks to get started, but they started like immediately upon approval. So a lot of people, we got a handful of calls initially, people thinking it was something with their electric lines or something, but I think we've disseminated enough information to where those calls have slowed down, that is fiber build out. And we have a little bit of movement on the Port Authority since our last meeting. The end of last week, Montgomery County's attorney sent back a redlined edits of the cooperative agreement that Dave had drafted, and we were good with their edits.
For the most part.
There was one remaining kind of outstanding question that they're still working on, and then they had sent us the ordinance, and Dave had a couple small edits that he asked on the ordinance, and then Steve Etcher sent us the application narrative for our review. And I will get that sent out to you all. And they are still working on assembling the exhibits that are going to go along with the application. But that was some positive movement. Do you want to add anything? Did I cover that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Couple of minor announcements. MRPC, their annual banquet that they hold every year is being held in Hermann this year. Tim Schulte, the presiding commissioner, is kind of spearheading that effort and may ask for our help as it gets a little bit closer. But please save the date for October 26th. It will be on, that's a Thursday night. A Thursday night, which is also auction night. And it'll be at the Fest Hall. And lastly, I'll just mention that at the chamber meeting earlier in the month, they were discussing next year's 4th of July celebration and what to do about the fireworks show. There had been some talk about whether or not to reschedule it for another holiday or create another event yet this year. So the consensus was of the chamber to not reschedule it, just use those donations that have been solicited to offset next year's display. And they were able to, the way they felt this year, you know how funky that kind of was, but next year, the way the calendar falls, July 5th will be on a Friday. And so they've secured July 5th, a Friday night, for the fireworks display. And we're still on the waiting list to get back on July 4th. And they changed vendors a few years ago. We lost that July 4th slot. And that's why it's been on July 3rd for the last couple of years. But they have secured July 5th for the fireworks display next year. And that is it.
Okay. Public Works Director report, please.
The electric department has been working on the street lights in the park, doing a lot of locates with this new fiber build out, so that'll be keeping a lot of the utility guys busy going forward. I think one day we had 22 locates called in, so it's going to keep them busy. The street guys have been working on tree trimming, doing street and sidewalk areas, trying to keep those clear for pedestrians and larger vehicles. They've also been working on a lean-to in the back of the shop to store the new spreader bed. Parks has been watering trees and working on pool issues. Mowing and weeding is needed. The sewer guys have been working on the Sand Plant Road sewer extension. The UV disinfection at the lagoons continues to work great. The water department has been collecting materials for the upcoming Schiller Street project, and we received the DNR lead and copper inventory grant. That's all I've got for you this time.
Any questions? Thank you,
All
sir.
right.
No public comments. Any old business? Any new business? If not, we'll move to motion. Do I have a motion to approve last meeting's minutes?
I move to approve the minutes.
Motion made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made, second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Ash ain't here, we can't pay no bill? No. Do I have a motion to pay the bills?
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
I have a motion to pay the bills. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made, second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Approve the low bid for social media archiving services for $76 a month from Sharp Archive. Any questions? I have a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve.
Motion's made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's made, second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Approve Madden Media contract annual renewal for the ad services in the Missouri Travel Guide for the Tourism Department.
I move to approve.
Motion's made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made, second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Approve the purchase of GIS units for $6,785 from Subsurface Solutions. Any questions on that one?
Make a motion to approve.
You have a question first?
Second.
Okay, motion made and second. All in favor, aye? Any opposed? So carried. Approve the low bid for visitor guide printing services for $7,114 from Show Me, Missouri. Have a motion to approve that.
Move to approve.
Motion made, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Being no reports, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn tonight's meeting.
Motion made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you everyone for watching, and stay cool. On Thursday.